Imagine this. You are walking through the frozen forests of Europe 40,000 years ago. Suddenly, you see human eyes, not quite like yours, yet reflecting the same curiosity, the same fear. They make fire. They hunt in groups. They bury their dead with flowers. And when they look up at the night sky, they may also wonder about their place in the universe. But that gaze is not yours. It belongs to a Neanderthal. Meanwhile, in Asia, another humanity dominates ice-covered mountains. In Indonesia, creatures barely 1 meter tall hunt dwarf elephants on forgotten islands. And in Africa, our direct ancestors prepare to begin a journey that will change the destiny of all human species forever. At least 6 human species coexisted. One single planet. And then, in an astonishingly short period of time, 5 of them vanished. Extinct. Erased from the earth. Only one remained. Us. Why? What happened? And more importantly, what does this say about who we really are? Before continuing this epic journey into humanity's past, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every week, I bring real stories that will blow your mind, revealing the most mysterious side of our own origins. To understand how we got here, we need to go much further back, 2.6 million years ago. This marks the beginning of the most recent ice age, a brutal era that reshaped landscapes and determined the fate of every human species. Forests retreated, deserts expanded, the world transformed, and evolution accelerated. It was in this unpredictable world that the first explorers of our lineage appeared. The Australopithecus, small bipedal creatures with tiny brains, only about 1/3 the size of ours. They walked upright, but were far more prey than predators. The famous Taung child, the first fossil ever discovered, was killed and carried away by a bird of prey. This was the world in which our story began. From these pioneers, evolution split into 2 very different paths. One led to the Paranthropus, true nutcrackers with massive jaws and bony crests like gorillas. Recent studies show that up to 70% of their diet consisted of grass. Yes, grass. No living primate eats this way. They proved that human evolution could have taken completely different routes, but they disappeared around 1.2 million years ago. The other path led to Homo erectus, perhaps the most resilient and long-lasting species in our history. They dominated the planet for nearly 2 million years. By comparison, our species, Homo sapiens, has existed for only about 300,000 years. Homo erectus was tall, strong, and had a much larger brain than its ancestors. But what truly changed everything was their ability to innovate. They were the first to control fire, likely between 500,000 and 1 million years ago. They built shelters, wore animal skins, and crafted tear-shaped stone tools. Beautiful and deadly. With this, they became hunters of megafauna. And they did the unthinkable. They left Africa. They spread across Asia, the Middle East, and Oceania. The first true human explorers of the world. But if there is one species you must completely rethink, it's the Neanderthals. Forget the brutish stereotypes from old movies. They were the true masters of the cold. They lived in environments reaching -40 degrees, with wide, muscular bodies built to conserve heat. Their large nasal cavities warmed the air before it reached their lungs. And culturally, they were astonishing. They prepared animal skins to survive extreme cold. They mastered fire, selecting specific types of wood. A form of chemistry we would only understand millennia later. They created symbolic art. Their brains were larger than ours in volume. They were cognitively sophisticated, just different. And here's a fact that may surprise you. Every modern human population outside Africa carries up to 3% Neanderthal DNA. Think about that. Our ancestors didn't wipe them out. We interbred with them. And part of that legacy is alive inside you, right now. So what happened? Why did all these other human species disappear in just a few thousand years, including the tiny Homo floresiensis, the real-life hobbit who lived isolated on Indonesian islands? Why did only we survive? For decades, scientists believed the answer was simple. We were superior, smarter, stronger, more adaptable. But the truth is far more complex and far more fascinating. Our advantage wasn't individual intelligence. It was mass cooperation. Neanderthals lived in small, isolated groups, perhaps 30 individuals. We created networks of hundreds, then thousands, bound together by something new and invisible. Shared fictions. We learned to collectively believe in things that don't physically exist. Gods, clans, laws, money. These abstractions allowed thousands of strangers to cooperate, as if they were one tribe. A Neanderthal knew everyone in their group. A Homo sapiens could unite with people they had never met, as long as they believed in the same stories. And that changed everything. Around 70,000 years ago, something extraordinary happened: the cognitive revolution. Our minds began creating symbols, myths, and art. We sculpted human-like figures, played flutes made from bones, painted caves with scenes of hunts and stars. And above all, we told increasingly complex stories. That was our true weapon. With culture, cooperation, and imagination, we became unstoppable. 70,000 years ago, we were only in Africa. 50,000 years later, we were sailing to Australia. 40,000 years ago, we were in Europe. Possibly 20,000 years ago, we reached the Americas. No other human species had ever done this. We adapted not by changing our bodies, but by transforming our culture. While they evolved biologically, we evolved mentally. But what about the others? Were there wars, epidemics, climate change, competition for resources? The answer may be all of the above. The last Neanderthals disappeared around 40,000 years ago. Homo floresiensis vanished around 50,000 years ago. Homo erectus had already gone. And for the first time in millions of years, only one humanity remained. For ages, multiple human species shared this planet. We are the exception, the last survivors of a once vast and diverse family. And then comes the final question. Did we deserve to survive? Were we truly better? Or just luckier? And now that the entire planet depends on our decisions, what will we do with this inheritance? You carry the DNA of Neanderthals who endured impossible winters, the ingenuity of Homo erectus, who mastered fire and crossed oceans, and the resilience of the Australopithecus, who dared to walk upright for the first time. You are literally the sum of millions of years of struggle, adaptation, and triumph. This is the story that lives inside you. If this video changed the way you see humanity, leave a like, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe to the channel. And tell me in the comments, which of these other human species would you like to see survive alongside us? What would the world be like with more than one humanity today? We are the last of an ancient lineage, and it's up to us to honor that history.